I think Tim hit it right on the head when he talked about including meat as well. And one of the things we raise a lot of here is corn. We don't export corn. Colorado's an import state where we use more corn than we can raise, but yet we export it through beef and poultry and animals. And there is an opportunity, which we have a huge beef population market, meat market, utilize that in exports as well into Cuba.
We talked a little before the show about logistics. How is this going to work if we're going to create a strong and viable chain of trade? How much is this going to cost, and who will fund it? Is this something that will be funded by the farmers who make up the state, or will there be any direct taxpayer investment as well?
Don't know yet. I mean, the purpose of this directed quote that we went out that opened this up to the media was simply, we don't know what it would cost, so the first step is to do discovery to find out, if we're going to do this, what's it going to cost. We bring back to the industry. I think in the 20-some years I've been with the Department of Ag, the state has never funded farmers, ranchers, or food processors in their direct costs for doing marketing, so I can't imagine that changing. At the same time, is there a role for the government? Absolutely. We have, legislatively, they dictate that we should promote tourism with taxpayer money. We should have state offices in overseas markets. We should promote the biotech industry. I think agriculture at some point, if they see through this research that there's opportunities and there's a need for the state to be involved, I'm sure Ag will come to Representative Sonnenberg and others and say, is this something we can do to help build our Colorado rural economy up?
What would you say to those who have concerns about what open borders would do concerning drug trade, or the illegal drug trade, we should say, or immigration problems? What would you say to them?
I think we're already seeing huge impacts with illegal drug trade and immigration that I don't think this would change. We already have people trying to swim 90 miles from Cuba to get into the United States now, and most of them being successful. I'm not sure this changes that. I think if we can keep track of who comes in, I think we are better poised to make a huge impact on knowing who's in this country and who's not in this country.
So any concerns that there could be more smuggling of illegal drugs if you have more agricultural products going through our borders?
I think for the most part, we're looking at the agricultural products going out of the United States into Cuba, not vice versa. There will be possibly some trade coming back in, and you always have that risk, indeed. But we do pretty good job of trying to keep tabs and keeping our borders somewhat secure with regards to illegal drugs, those type of things. I think the key here to open that market, at least now, and we may be putting the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse, excuse me, is to open that dialogue, to have Colorado, to give the Commissioner of Agriculture the ability, and I know in tight funding years, to have somebody make that trip to Cuba and say, look, is there something we can do to have that trade? And I think that's what we're trying to start at least now. If we have to appropriate some more money for that, we'll look at that. Then maybe we don't do that at the government level. I think we do that at the producer level, the industry that is looking to benefit from this trade.
How could this personally impact you? Do you see a direct financial benefit to your farming operations?
Well, of course. I raise hard red winter wheat, corn, sunflowers, millet. The corn goes to the beef and poultry industry, which could ultimately result in higher prices to the corn plus the wheat.
Are any of your products already going to Cuba through Texas or other states?
Probably, as 80% of the wheat from Colorado already is exported. I would anticipate that some of that wheat is indeed my wheat. Now, do I sell direct market to those, a niche market? No. Mine is put in the big pot with everybody else's, and that wheat then would be shipped or exported. So I would assume yes. And even if my wheat is not, that's wheat that goes to another market that could increase those markets towards other farmers which will in turn increase the markets for those of us that don't export.
That makes sense. And
I think I would like to come back. You talked about concern about illegal drugs coming in from Cuba. One thing you have to keep in mind is what's unique about our trade relationship with Cuba is this is one way. We sell agricultural products to them. There is nothing, no legislation that I know of that is saying we're going to bring anything in from Cuba.
But would you support that? You're saying embargoes don't work, so should we have a two-way trade street here? Do you want to make any official announcements on behalf of the Ritter administration today?
No.
It's just in breaking news. Governor Ritter invites Castro to governor's mansion. No, nothing like that. No,
Nothing
no.
like that.
Okay, well, we're going to close up, but I wanted to just give you just one last chance to sort of respond to the biggest dilemma presented in the post-editorial. The post-editorial was with both of you, but it did express a very important concern, and it was this. It said, the Obama administration must make clear that broader engagement doesn't mean the U.S. condones Cuba's poor record on human rights. Easily said, but how does this work in practice? How do you convince those millions of Cuban immigrants that we're doing the right thing? And how do we convince the people of Colorado?
Well, I think first and foremost, we have some issues now that we're trying to deal with. The embargo has not worked over the last 45 years since 1962 or 3 when John Kennedy put agriculture and medical supplies on it. It has not worked. We have not brought the Castros to their knees. I think what we do here is we at least start the dialogue where we have the discussions and see if we can open trade. I think we're talking about two separate issues. Agriculture trade and for the people, and a murder. And I don't think you can tie the two together politically.
So if we have voters out there that would like to contact you and ask you questions, how can they reach you?
They can email me at jerry@repsonnenberg.com.
Okay, great. And we'll also have, they could contact us through the Independence Institute, and we will put them in touch with you. Now, I want to give you one last chance, Mr. Larsen, to talk about what you would say to that post concern that we want to liberalize trade, but not also endorse a murderous regime. We just have about 45 seconds here.
I'll go back to Representative Sonnenberg's statement. Agriculture for the last 50 years, it says, please don't politicize trade in food and agriculture. It's not a political tool. It's a core value and something we can provide around the world. We have no such regulations on trade with Venezuela, Syria, Libya, Iran, and don't endorse what's going on there, but I don't know that the embargo has had any impact on that in the past. Maybe increased codependence is maybe one of the answers there. If they depend more and more on the U.S. to supply their food, maybe we have more conversation on other areas.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time for today's show, but I want to thank you both for being on, and I would encourage everybody out there to look more closely at this issue as we move forward. I'm Jessica Corry, and thanks for watching Independent Thinking.
I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it all. The day I met you, wish I'd been in Barry or on the ocean, a million miles at sea.